Hi there, this is Samantha from the Law Offices of Samantha Wolfe. And the next question in our What If series is, what if my spouse passed away? Is there anything I need to do? So, a lot of times we'll represent husband and wife and we'll have helped them with their estate planning. And one spouse will pass away. And the question is always, do I need to do anything? The answer to that depends a lot about how your assets are titled and what assets you have. So the first question I always ask is, were there retirement accounts in the decedent's name? So if we have husband and wife and husband passed away, but husband had retirement, even if he named wife as the primary beneficiary, there's zero tax under Pennsylvania law, but you're still required to file a Pennsylvania inheritance tax return. So it may be that we don't have to do anything for the husband when he passes away, but for file the Pennsylvania inheritance tax return disclosing the value of what's in the retirement account. Again, there's no tax because if it went to wife at husband's death, there would be no tax, but we do have to disclose it to Pennsylvania. If there are certain assets that weren't jointly owned or didn't have a beneficiary designation. So, for example, if we have husband and wife and their house was jointly owned, husband dies, nothing has to be done. That house automatically is going to be wife's. Title vests in her. Becomes the 100% owner when husband died. But if husband was the only person who owned the real estate, if it was just in his name and he passes away, then the only way that we can get it to wife or to the beneficiaries under the will would be to probate. And so a lot of times it depends. If you have assets that are jointly owned and all the assets are jointly owned as husband and wife, and then retirement, which cannot be jointly owned, has beneficiary designations and that goes to spouse, then it could be that there's nothing that needs to be done other than the Pennsylvania inheritance tax return disclosing the value of the retirement, even though there's no tax. So the first thing to remember is that if we're dealing with a married couple, just because one spouse dies, it doesn't mean there's going to be a lengthy and time-consuming estate administration process. Normally, when one spouse passes away, there's very little that needs to be done. Our office is happy to help, but there's just not a lot that needs to be done. Usually, most of the estate administration occurs when the second spouse dies. Again, that being said, if you do have retirement in Pennsylvania, you do have to file a Pennsylvania inheritance tax return disclosing the value, even if it all goes to wife and there's zero tax. So we always welcome clients or anyone who has questions about the estate administration process to reach out to our office. You can call us at 717-655-2676